WGMD.com and via the WGMD app. You want to send us an email here because our next guest seems to get a lot of email messages through me. His name is Ted Mermagos. Ted is the director for the Division of Child Support Services. Ted, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Jake. Good morning.
Now, I guess 12:30 this morning. So earlier today,
Right.
I sent you another email from a listener.
Yeah.
But these emails are important. We seem to be getting more email requests for information, assistance that you could afford, you provide someone who's having a problem.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that question because it's actually, there are three parts to the email and three different questions, but they're important. And the information that these questions contain might be of help to other listeners out there. Now, this is the busiest time of the year for you and your department for obvious reasons. The holidays are coming. There's a Toys for Tots box, my friends, here. If you're going out today, please, a lot of the Toys for Tots toys will be given to children who are not their parent, non-custodial parents not supporting them. There's an empty box here, just to let you know. If you're going out, please do what you can to fill up that Toys for Tot box. Tell us what it's like in your office this time of year.
Yeah, it's very stressful, not only for custodial parents who are really trying hard to provide for their families during the holidays,
right?
But also non-custodial parents who may be unemployed and are feeling a little bit stressed by the fact that they can't help support their children. And then, we do obviously worry about our employees who, have to deal with a lot of difficult situations and they do the best that they can to be empathetic.
They must bring those problems home with them. When they listen to those stories, that must go home with them, I would think, at night, Ted, does it?
It can be a very difficult situation, and we try to help them de-stress. And there's some things that we do and try and work with our employees to not...
you have an open bar there in your office?
No, none of that. But we really do care about our employees and obviously the people that we serve and wanting them to, have the best holiday and honestly receive what they're supposed to be receiving to support their families.
Ted, there's going to be some people who are going to get in contact with you over the next month. They need help, and they need money to provide for a Christmas for their children. You get these requests all the time.
Right.
How successful are you in helping these parents at this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard, Jake, to quantify success rates.
Yeah. Okay.
But like we've shared before, it's always awesome for me to see, as a leader of an organization, when people do receive, that lump sum payment that they haven't received a payment in a long time, and all of a sudden something comes in that, goes out to them, or that we see a non-custodial parent who hasn't made a payment in a long time start to have wage withholding payments from an employer come in on a regular basis. So it's those little things that, you can see that, hey, things are changing for this particular individual or this family. So it's there's not always those big, huge rewards, but it's the little milestones and stuff like that.
It would seem to me that this program has given you the opportunity to hear from those custodial parents that are having issues or are not seeing their or they do not understand what's going on, or their situation hasn't been resolved, and then you go back and you get to take a look at the case and see how it's been. So it gives you kind of an insight as to what's going on in your own department. Is that true?
Absolutely. And Jake, I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but I got into the whole child support field by being a worker. So I was in the case manager's position before, so I understand the way to correctly process a child support case and the steps that it takes and the things that workers should be doing or, and actions that they should be taking to make a case successful. So you're right. So when I get emails or I get telephone calls from custodial parents or non-custodial parents, and I can go in and look at the actual child support case and see the activities that have been taken by a child support specialist or someone in our accounting unit. I do triage it and can, go and talk to supervisors about certain steps that may have been taken that are a little unusual than the normal case processing steps. So,
and it gives you training opportunities, you told me to.
Absolutely. So I use it as an opportunity to work with supervisors and their staff on, identifying training needs that person may need. Our customer service unit in Newcastle handles calls for the whole state and calls that come in from around the country. That's the only unit in our offices that has a way to record the telephone calls. So we go back and we listen to interactions between our child support specialist and the customer to make sure that people are being treated respectfully, professionally, that their questions are being answered. So we do use that as a training opportunity to help our child support workers become better at their jobs, and that's important.
My name is Jake Smith. This is Out and About Wednesday, Delmarva Live's broadcast every Wednesday morning. Ted is here the third Wednesday of every month, helping you with issues with respect to child support payments, child support enforcement, your child support case. If you would like to call in, now would be a good time, 302-945-9292, or you can send me an email. We get just as many emails, jake.smith@wgmd.com, jake.smith@wgmd.com. If you go on to the website, wgmd.com, there's a shortcut. Just email Jake Smith. Just click on that, send me an email, and we'll have Ted address your question on the air. And perhaps not only you'll get the answer that you need, but others will also benefit from the question that you asked. Now, we do have a three-part question for Ted that I sent to him at 12:30 this morning, but we'll get to that question in just a moment because it's a good one. It's a very good question, and I'm sure there are others out there that will benefit from hearing what Ted has to say. But first, let's take a break on the Talk of Delmarva 92.7 WGMD. Stay with us, please. You're listening to the award-winning Delmarva Live, broadcasting live today from Kim Benton State Farm because it's Out and About Wednesday. And our guest is Ted Mermagos, the Director for the Division of Child Support Services. If you want to give Ted a call, you've got a question with respect to child support, enforcement, how to file for child support, whatever that problem is, you're custodial, you're non-custodial. Ted is raring to go to take your questions at 302-945-9292, or you can send us an email, jake.smith@wgmd.com. All right, last night, well, I should say early this morning, I received an email from a listener, and I'm not going to give the listener's name because when it comes to child support, I don't want to give anyone's names because of, well, it's pretty obvious why. But, hello, Jake. Please ask this question on my behalf. Now, I'm just so tickled pink that the listeners know, Ted. It's Thursday, Wednesday of every month. You're going to be here. So that's, to me, I'm tickled pink at that.
Great.
What is the Division of Child Support doing to ensure that a parent who is currently under an order of support and a second contempt of court order is making the full monthly payment as agreed? Right. Response.
Okay, so, I mean, there's really many responses to this question. The most important thing is, is the non-custodial parent employed? And if they're employed, we want to send an order of income withholding to that employer. About 99.9% of the court orders that come out of family court will say a wage withholding is to be issued and the payment has to be sent to the family court, to child support services. So we want to make sure if the person is employed, that the employer gets a wage withholding to start sending in those payments. Every time that non-custodial parent gets paid, payments are coming to our office. The wage withholding, it makes it easy for employers. It says if this person is paid monthly, send this amount. This person is paid biweekly, you send this amount.
It's broken down.
So it helps the employer determine what they're supposed to send in. It's so important that non-custodial parents, if they're starting a new job, that if they don't see that money coming out of their paycheck, that they need to mail that payment to our office on their own. And our address is on, all of those orders also. We also have, Jake, our Delaware Fatherhood Program. And that program is to help people get employed. Custodial parents, non-custodial parents, males, females. We've even helped some of the children who have emancipated get employment opportunities, So if someone says, I'm not working or I lost my job, we can help them find employment opportunities through our Delaware Fatherhood Program.
Now, Men are naturally, well, they get anxious when they get these notices, and sometimes they ignore them.
Yep.
Sometimes they can't pay what the court is ordering them to pay because of other circumstances. Perhaps they've changed jobs, their hours have been cut. Who the heck knows? But you have, and you've heard from a lot of these these fathers or sometimes mothers have called in. But the issue is you should not ignore, because if it needs to be a modification to what you're being able to pay. You can work on that. That's not something that it's not etched in stone. There are always extenuating circumstances, Ted, right?
Right. So the family court will always wants to review the previous court order or the current court order every 2.5 years. But if there's a substantial change in someone's financial circumstances, they've lost employment, they've gained employment, and they're making more or less, anyone can go in and file for a modification of that existing order.
Got it.
Usually it's like a 10% difference. So if I've lost my job and got a new job that I'm making 10% less at than what I was when the order was created, I can go back into family court and have that order modified. Similarly, if the non-custodial parent gets a promotion or gets a better job, the custodial parent through the child support office can file for a modification to get additional funds, an increase in their order.
But again, if you ignore it, it's just going to keep building up and building up and building up, and then it's that's why. But it is an intimidating process, isn't it, not, Ted, for a man?
I mean, it's intimidating for.
I found it that way when I was going through it. So
it's intimidating for non-custodial parents. It's intimidating for custodial parents who never, maybe never have been in a courtroom, never had be in these kind of circumstances. It absolutely is intimidating. Yeah. But one of the things we're trying to do is to kind of break down some of those barriers and to make it something that both custodial and non-custodial parents can learn how to maneuver through the child support process, through the family court process, and really kind of stabilizing their current situation. But I wanted to touch base on, we've talked about this many times, and one of my reoccurring themes is don't disregard those letters that you get from family court or the child support office. Work it out and contact us at child support, because we want to be able to help you resolve any kind of issue, because before it becomes a bigger issue. When we talk a little bit about, to kind of go back to that question, some other things we have are those enforcement activities. Some of them are automated, like our submitting people for federal or state tax refund intercepts. So if you're going to get a tax refund, we can intercept that to pay your child support arrears.
Right.
Or the license suspension program. Or we're going to suspend a driver's license. We are obligated.
We've had emails from people that their license has been suspended, right? So
we are obligated by state law to notice people before we take an action. Administrative Processes Act requires that we do that. So
let's go to Donnie from Lewis for Ted Myrmagos, the Director of the Division of Child Support Services here in the First State. Donnie, good morning. Thank you for waiting. You're on the air with the Director himself, Ted Myrmagos. Go ahead.
Ted, I just want to tell you as the director that I had a Zoom modification meeting yesterday. The two folks that helped me out in Georgetown, and basically just as you'd explained, employment changes. But I just want to tell you that the staff was extremely thorough. They made sure that myself and my ex-wife were totally comfortable with the modification. And ironically enough, we went ahead and did all this modification, and now my employment's changed again. So I've got to take the time to go back and apply for another modification. But just want to let you know that the staff, the commissioners, some of the stuff is, people think it seems weird when you can get your fishing license or driver's license suspended. But, the modification process is the way to go for the single dads. So, I mean, and it is intimidating, but men don't like to ask for help. But when you fill out the when you fill out the modification, you feel better about it because you're literally asking for help, because life always happens, and there's going to be a delay, and everyone's aware of it. When you change jobs or your income, it can take up to 3 months for the other party to receive some of those checks. So. But doing the modification and having the Zoom option, I don't even mind going into Georgetown, but I just want to let everybody know that if you don't ask for modifications, you're going to fight the system, and it's going to be frustrating. and the kids lose out because really they're the ones who need the money. So thank you for having great staff.
Donnie, thank you for that, and I think you're going to probably allay fears of a lot of men who are listening today. Donnie, great phone call.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for expressing to us what your recent experiences were with this Zoom hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Let's go to our next caller, Joe, on the Lewis Meineke Doing Car Care Right Talk line. Joe, you're on the air with Ted Murmagos, the Director of the Division of Child Support Services. Go ahead, please.
Hey, how you doing today, guys?
Good morning.
Very well. Thank you.
So I am a custodial parent. My children are grown, and my ex owes me a large sum of money. And it seems like they don't really go out of their way to, I've given them information where she's living. I've given them tag numbers. I don't even know if she's lost her license. I don't know. They haven't sent me anything, like they've revoked her license or anything. But it's, my youngest is 30, so, in this many years, I collect a large sum of money.
Well, thank you for calling this morning. And let me say this. So when someone has what they call an arrears-only case, the current support obligations have ended because the children have emancipated. Those arrears are still still owed, and we will continue to take enforcement action until those arrears are collected. Sometimes, I think I would like to take, we talk about this all the time, but maybe taking a closer look at his particular situation.
Joe, if you could send me an email, and I'll forward your email on to Ted so he can take a direct look at your case.
Yeah.
He probably wants to see exactly what's been done to this point, right?
Yeah, like what kind of activities we've done as an agency, whether that license has been suspended, whether we're kind of doing some locate activities. Sometimes trying to find custodial or non-custodial parents is a little bit difficult, but I certainly would like to see what we can do if you're not getting payments, that we can get that kind of started up again and take a look at it.
See, men have collection issues also.
That's
Ted.
right.
People think that they don't, but there are men out there that are the custodial parents.
Absolutely. But I want to make sure he understands and others understand. Just because it's an arrears-only case doesn't mean it's not important to us, and we certainly want to do all that we can to use the enforcement tools that we have available to try and get him some payments on a regular and consistent basis.
Joe, can you send me that email, and we'll see if we can, I'll get that over to Ted immediately and get him cracking on this. How's that?
Yeah, I won't be able to get it home this evening, but I'll send it over to you.
Very good.
And he could also call our customer service unit at that 302-577-7171 number, and a child support specialist can certainly give him an update on the current status.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Good luck with your issue, Joe. Ted, we have to take a break for Marine Weather, Fox Business, and we'll be back with the other two questions that the listener had forwarded to me earlier today for Ted to answer. We'll do that on our child support segment here on Delmarva Live 92.7 WGMD. Stay with us. You're listening to the award-winning Delmarva Live on 92.7 WGMD, WGMD.com, and via your WGMD app. Ted Murmagos, the Division of Director of Child Support Services here in Delaware, will be rejoining us in just a moment. I want to say hello to Bobby from Kim Benton State Farm. Bobby, if you do business with Flo does not get involved in anything local, does she? Have you ever seen Flo in Millsboro?
I personally have not.
Okay, so, I have never seen her either. Did you ever see her attend a Little League game? Have you ever seen her do anything with regard to Quotes for Good or Toys for Tots or anything like that?
No. And, thank you for pointing that out. We love to be involved in the local community here.
And that's the difference between buying insurance at a local agent and buying things online. This local agent, they have bought into your community. They do business in your community. They support the community regardless of what the needs are. And that's why Quotes for Good, Blessings for Badges, and Toys for Tots are three areas where Kim Benton State Farm is involved in this community, correct?
Exactly. We partner with a different charitable organization each month, and this month it is Blessings for Badges, and they are an organization that provides a hot Thanksgiving meal to first responders that can't be with their families for Thanksgiving. Wow. So great cause.
Wonderful. That is, and I remember Kim talking about it last year. Quotes for Good is something that you're involved with. You pick a different charitable organization where you have if someone comes in for a quote, you will provide, I think it's $10 for every quote, right?
Yeah, for every referral that we get, whether it be from existing customers or, our next door neighbors or people that listen to your show, Jake, every referral that we get and household that we quote during that month, $10 goes to that organization. And like I said, this month is Blessings for Badges.
Now, Toys for Tots is something that Kim Benton State Farm participates in every year. Kim and I have talked about the story last December. Somebody came in with 12 big bags of toys before we were signing off, and it was just the amount of generosity in this community is just incredible. But many of the children who are not supported by the non-custodial parent are ones who will benefit from Toys for Tots. Ted, you're shaking your head yes, but right now that Toys for Tots box here is empty. It's just dust on the bottom. My friends, I know that there are those of you out there that if you go into a store today, pick up a toy. Bring it in if you can. Toys for Tots. You can drop it off right here. The box is here. Kim Benton State Farm. The Marines make sure that they come by. I think they were by yesterday, but right now the box is empty.
No.
Ted, how important is Toys for Tots for
that's
children?
definitely an organization that we support, and the work that they do, it definitely has an impact on our community, for sure. For sure.
You can reach out to Bobby at Kim Benton State Farm, 302-934-9393. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome. You're listening to Delmarva Live on 92.7 WGMD. If you have a question for Ted Mermagos, the Director of the Division of Child Support Services here in the First State, 302-945-9292. Or you can send us an email, jake.smith@wgmd.com. All right, getting back to that question, Ted. It's been a busy morning.
Yeah.
Here's part two.
Yep.
What measures should the custodial parent take to ensure that total monthly payments are made in full?
Okay. So, Jake, custodial parents are probably the most important part of child support case processing, because we can't do what we do without their help. And, sometimes, we hear...
Everything revolves around the custodial parent, you're saying.
Well, to help us make sure that the non-custodial parent is doing what they're supposed to do, we are always going to the custodial parent for information. And that's so important to make sure that the case is moving in the way that it's supposed to through the process. So, sometimes we hear from custodial parents that say, we're not doing anything. But it really, so when we go to them with it, like, hey, do you have any updated information about the non-custodial parent? They get a little upset with us, like, why are you coming to me? It's because you're out on the street. You know what I mean? You're in and having relationships with this person, and information that
maybe not, depending on what the situation is.
Yeah,
right?
Depending. But the information that we get from custodial parents can be followed up on or verified, and that really is the most important thing that they can do for us, is to give us any kind of information that they think will be helpful to help us move that case forward and help them get regular child support payments. So it's something that we often rely a lot on to get that case kind of rolling. The other thing they can do is to, we talk a little bit about non-custodial parents not wanting to interact or being scared of the child support offices, or
being intimidated by the process.
Intimidated by the process.
Yeah.
If they can say that they've spoken to us at child support and communicate to non-custodial parents that help us get our message out to them that we want to help them, I think that is something that we would really kind of take advantage of, being able to work with non-custodial parents. Ultimately, and this is, I think, is the most important thing, Jake, is if that relationship is severed, trying to repair relationships with non-custodial parents to benefit the child and to benefit the process, I think is something that is really the most important thing in this process.
It's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids.
That's what it is.
If the parties can work together, and
sometimes they can't. I mean, for whatever reason, there are instances where parents cannot work together, and that unfortunately that's something that Ted's department has to navigate around anyway.
But for instance, like Don, when Don called earlier, It sounds like him and his the custodial parent
They have a working relationship when it comes to their kids.
Yeah.
But again, you have these Zoom conferences. If you can't get off, perhaps you can't go to Georgetown.
Yep.
The Zoom conferences are, an alternative to actually showing up in court. What a great idea.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that the pandemic has done. And you're looking at improving the process. And Zoom video conferencing, that aspect is an improvement to help the process along.
I wish Zoom had been around during my divorce. I would have utilized it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the third part of this question.
Yes.
What if the parent ordered to make payments has ability to make those payments and has not provided adequate excuse for failure to work and to make those payments as ordered?
Yeah. So, we talk a lot too, Jake, about working under the table. There's those non-custodial parents or
it does happen.
Individuals who may own their own company,
so they can hide money.
Successful companies who,
and we've had people reach out to us about those very situations. People very successful. They can control though what money is made public and what money's not, right?
That's right. So we still try when an individual owns their own company, we still send them a wage withholding so that we show that the court, hey, we've tried to do all that we can to get that court order enforced. It ultimately, in most cases, results in another contempt petition being filed with
Which
the
is
family
unfortunate.
court. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we've had very successful people go before the court multiple times, and the courts will then eventually get to the point of incarceration. If you keep showing up to the same family court commissioner and keep giving them excuses about why you're not going to honor their court order from a previous hearing, it could ultimately end up in incarceration, and that does no good for anyone. That doesn't do any good for the custodial parent, the non-custodial parent, or the child. So, so ultimately, we want non-custodial parents to be compliant and work with us to if there is an issue about a disability that's resulting in them not being able to be gainfully employed, we think it's important for them to tell us that, and we can help them work with the court to bring that information to the attention of the court to help them.
And again, what Ted does by way of this show is hear from you. If there's a case perhaps that needs to be reviewed, that's what Ted's doing. He's actually going in, looking at the case notes of his department, and he will actually reach out to you if he thinks that there's something he can do to help, or if there's perhaps a different direction. Ted, am I stating it correctly?
Yeah. Let me correct one small correction.
All right.
I will always reach out to them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? If they're and so if I look at the case and it's not necessarily what was represented either here or in the email, I'm going to always reach out to the person that reaches out to me.
And Ted's department is listening to this broadcast right now, are they not? Because you get critiqued every time you get back to the office on your performance.
I do, but that's okay. That's okay. Or like I said, they're sending me like, no, you shouldn't have said that. You should have said this. But that's all right. But I want people to know that they can reach me through you, Jake, through your email.
Right.
And I will reach out to them and let them know that I'm looking at their particular issue. And if there needs to be a discussion with the child support specialist handling the case, we'll have that discussion to try and improve case processing for the future. And I want to resolve individuals' concerns. So if someone's not getting child support, I want to find out why, and let's see what we can do to make that happen,
And the fact now that custodial parents and non-custodial parents know that they have a contact with the Division of Child Support Services through this radio program once a month, or they can reach out to you. Yes. To me, I think it's a great thing for the kids, because it's helping the kids get what it is needed for their for their growth process. Yeah, I mean,
it's another avenue to try and bring some attention to a particular child support issue that needs to be addressed. One of the things we've talked a little bit about in the past is, we have the ability through our department to make legislative changes.
Right.
And legislative improvements, legislative changes that will address maybe current issues in the law.
Right.
So, we're always open to look at things that would improve the program, whether it's maybe removing an antiquated law that no longer really is doing what it's supposed to do.
What it was intended to do.
Yeah. Or introducing some new legislation that will make the process easier and helpful.
Well, it seems like the idea of using Zoom is a big help for some who may be intimidated from going to court,
Yeah.
may be more relaxed at home, going through the process. But again, thanks to Donnie, I guess, was the listener who called in, giving us kind of a post-game wrap-up of what it was like for him. And thank you, Donnie, and I hope everything works out for you and your family. Ted, again, as we spend like the last couple of minutes, as Christmas approaches, those non-custodial parents, custodial parents, with the holidays approaching, what are your what's your advice to those parents listening this morning?
And so my thing is this: it's not too late. So if you have an issue, it's not too late to reach us now at 302-577-7171. Talk to a child support specialist, and they can help you, either whether you're a custodial parent or a non-custodial parent. They can help you work through the issues that hopefully will be resolved by Christmas. The other thing is, for non-custodial parents, one of the messages I always like to share is, if you're not paying now, it's not too late to start paying something. Maybe you can't afford to pay what the court order is until it gets modified. Pay something, because it's going to go to the families. It's going to show the court that, hey, I've made an attempt. This is all I can afford, but I'm paying on a regular basis.
It shows an intent to try to comply with the order. And and that does weigh with the court, does it not?
It does. It does. And it shows that there's an effort that they're making an effort to try and get those funds to the family.
Well, Ted, you point out we're going on our third year now with these segments, and they said it would never last.
Yeah. August was our beginning of our third year together. So.
And it is obviously making a difference.
Yep.
At least parents, non-custodial parents. And I mean, divorce is a disgusting business. It really is. Believe me, but now people feel in our area that they have an outlet where if they have a problem or if they need advice, they have a place to go.
That's right. And you're right. It is a situation where it's very difficult, and we want there to be a place for them to go for help, and we want to be able to help them.
Ted, please express to everyone in your office, from everyone here associated with this radio show at WGMD, that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if you're going to be with us next month before Christmas.
I will be.
All right. Well, I'll be here. If you're going to be here, then I'll be here.
I will.
But thank you for everything that you've done. And we give thanks for all good things this time of year. And we're thankful for all the help that you give our parents who need that. And again, my friends, if you want to send an email to Ted, perhaps there was a question that pops up in your mind after we get off the air today, you send that email to me. I immediately forward it, even at 12:29 in the morning. I immediately forward that email to Ted Murragos, the director of the Division of Child Support Services. Ted, happy Thanksgiving to you and to everyone at the Division of Child Support Services.
Same to you.
You're listening to Delmarva Live on 92.7 WGMD, WGMD.com, and via your WGMD